Hey, what's up, guys? It's Fortitude here. Um, First of all, let me see if I'm actually have my mic
Attention
on.
units, we've got reports of muggings in the area. Please proceed to Cathedral.
Okay, yeah, I actually do have my mic on. Um, this is going to get real, mm, like real in the every sense of the word. Um, for everybody who knows me, I have always been a very big-hearted jokester. From the guys in our nerdy opinion to some of my longest, closest, dearest friends. I've always been the guy that pretty much will always be there for people and always willing to hear people out. And for the most part, that's a really good thing to do. That's a really good thing to be. But other times, it's not the smartest thing to do. And I say this for the sole reason of... let's see. I just want to have a good pose. God damn it. Okay, yeah, you know what? I'll have it facing the park. You guys will occasionally hear the cops try to get me to do something, but that's neither here nor there. But like I said, it's gonna get real. I was originally gonna make this as a Facebook post, and I was like, screw it. I'm not gonna make people read. I might as well make them watch.
Attention all units. Assault reported in progress.
Let's see.
Report came in near Gracie Mansion. Over.
You know what? I actually got a better idea. Just so we can just have this, just viewing. By the way, love this suit. This was just dropped, like, I think today. If not, it was dropped yesterday. Either way. I'm gonna, like, like I said, I'm gonna be real. I suffered with crazy amount of depression for majority of my 28 years of existing. If you had told me that I was going to be on the cusp of being 29 in like 2 months, not even 2 months, like a month and a half, since we're about to hit February in a few days. If you had told me I'm on the cusp of being 29, let alone about to enter my 30s next year, I probably would be like, that's lies, or I would probably end up crying. Like, you know, crying into the person who talked to me's arms. Let's just say I was able to travel myself to talk to two various points of my life. And at any point, you could have chose any point in my middle school to high school life. I had so much self hatred in my life. It was insane. Like, I hit it quite well, actually. And it is true what they say about the people who smile, the people who make people laugh. They are the ones that are truly hurting inside. I did that a lot. From being the guy that I would let my friends vent to. Like, they would come to me and vent and just pour and pour and pour their hearts out, pour their minds out. Just wanting another person to listen to them and not judge them. It's mind-boggling because that's what all I wanted, and I would get here touches of that here and there. I'm not gonna lie and say that I had nobody. I had some friends, I had some family. You know, I had an occasional girlfriend here and there that would do this. but I never felt I was worthy enough to be able to take so much time. You know, if I was able to go back in time and just talk to myself in my teenage years, well, I can guarantee you I would probably say things that would make him cry, but not cry in like senses of being malicious, in senses of just being an absolute dick. Cry in the sense of like you like tears of joy, like I'm not crazy. I'm not insane. And the reason why I say this is because it kind of like I was in bed right now, just not necessarily sleeping or anything like that, but just kind of like being at peace, being at one with my thoughts. Um, I just kind of had like a almost like an epiphany, if you will, or at least a higher sense of plane of mentally existing. I'm probably the happiest I've been in so fucking long, in nearly 29 years of being alive. And the reason why I say this is because when I smile, I feel like I'm not holding anything back. When I'm laughing, I'm not holding anything back. It could be thanks to this new job that if I never updated anybody with, I got the job that was hinted at when I did that podcast episode with Kim, Hello Green Eyes. You know, and it kind of like brought me back into loving customer service. Like, as much as I love to cook and bake, and how realistically that would be a dream job of mine. I would love to actually own my own place and cook my own stuff. I kind of have a knack. I kind of use the knack that I've always had, which is being there for people who need help. And customer service, as stupid as a lot of people may deem it, especially in call centers. That's where I work at. I work at a call center. I'm not going to say the company's name, but I work at a call center for a certain company. Yeah, and you got your entitled people, but realistically, they're just calling for help because they don't have anybody to help them. And if I can make somebody's life a little bit easier, it helps. Especially when you are kind of like me and you don't have, or kind of how I used to be, and you kind of don't have anybody you can just fall back on. In high school, I've always been a big dude for the most part. Middle school was not as kind as I'd like it to be. Neither was high school. Hell, even elementary was not as kind as to be. To develop a self-hatred as a child in elementary is mind-boggling. And it kind of puts a lot of things in perspective when you kind of just look at people and you're saying, kids have it easy and they still have it rough in these days and ages. And I was a victim of childhood bullying. It started me on my downward spiral. I had no self-worth. I was one of the most intelligent kids in my elementary, to the point where if it wasn't for me being bullied and caused my fits of anger, and it was anger that would make me black out. It caused me to not be able to move up. Like, I could have skipped 2 or 3 grades if I wanted to, if I had my anger in control, if I had my emotions in control. I could have easily skipped grades. I was one of the most intelligent kids, and that's not me tooting my own horn. If I literally had access to those records, my school records, and I'm not even going to bother to do it because, of course, that would probably release way more information that I would like to be out there on the internet. It would show you that I was in the top 5%. I was not in the top 5%, top 5 students in all the grades. You know, I still know the other people who were in that top 5. uh, life changed a little bit more because I met more interesting. I met more, not what I would say more interesting people. I met more intelligent people when I went to middle school. I felt like I could be myself around them, not only with intelligence but like personality. And boy, was I wrong. I had only maybe like, realistically, I had maybe the two friends that I had from elementary and then three more friends. I was, and I gained a fourth friend in middle school, who, in all honesty, I will always cherish as one of my closest friends. Now, I didn't become friends with him 100%, and I'll get into that later, until high school. But I met one of the people that I will cherish as a brother more than a friend. He's like literally my best friend of all time. And this is not knocking any of my friends that I have out there who will be listening to this video, because it's going to be a pretty interesting video. This is like literally kind of unfolds the book that is me. I'm kind of an open book, but a lot of people don't take the time to necessarily hear a lot of what I got to say. Not saying that I'm boring or I'm not as talkative, but I don't get as deep as I'd like to be sometimes. But I had a very kind of like sad, and the thing is, I'm not even an introvert. I just kind of had like a very sad experience. Like the real life really swung a bat at me and cracked open my head, if you will. People really did not like me. I don't know if it was just because I had a bad first impression. I don't know if it was just because I was overweight at the time, and I still was. I kind of grew into my weight, even though I'm still big. But I don't know if it was because I was overweight. I don't know if they were intimidated by my intelligence. I don't know if they can smell, if it was because they could smell the victim mentality in my, on me. But people made my life a living hell. And it just continued a series of self-hate, to the point where I would look at myself in the mirror and I would hate what I saw. I would hate everything about myself. I just wanted acceptance. I joined sports and didn't get accepted. In fact, it was ironic. I joined sports to kind of like toughen myself up, stand up for myself, and all it did was just make more enemies. Granted, it felt good joining football and just laying waste to people that I didn't know, as well as purposely attacking some teammates. I recall this one dude, again, I'm not going to be saying certain names, just be out of respect. But I remember this one guy who made my life hell, who eventually we kind of grew up in high school, and we had a little bit more respect for each other. But at the time, he was kind of a dick. He was super popular with the majority of the kids in our grade. And it was kind of like a scrimmage between the A team and B team of football. I was part of the B team. He was down. It was after, like, a tackle was made, and I purposely ran up and I landed back first onto his chest. I gave all my weight on him, not giving a fuck. I just saw a moment of opportunity and I just did what I did. He didn't go to the hospital. I didn't crack a rib or anything like that. But it was one of the very rare times where I knowingly went for blood. And to be in that mindset at any point of life is very dangerous. Unless you're kind of like in a fight or flight kind of situation where your life depends on it, to get into that mindset, it's not cool. After middle school, I was like, okay, high school. It's gonna be awesome. You know, I kind of had a little bit of belief, like most teenagers do, that high school, you're gonna find your clique, you're gonna find where you belong. High school are gonna be your golden years, and it just sucked more dick. It just did. You know, I met more people that I can consider friends, and I met more people that just stabbed me in the back, stabbed me in the heart, if you will. You know, from girls I had a thing for, who I would open up to, you know, to, friends who I generally formed a bond and friendship with for years, only for them to turn on me for reasons that I still to this day don't know, and they do fuck with me. You know, um, I'm gonna make up a name for this one individual, and this is not his real name. It's not even close to it. I'm gonna call him Davis, and just so you know, his name's not David or anything like that. His name starts with a completely different letter. But I met Davis in middle school. Literally, we were in the same class. We sat near each other. I I think I was drawing like something like Dragon Ball Z related. And my art sucks. I wish I could. I wish the images that I have perfect in my head I can illustrate with my hand, but I can't. I don't have that skill. Um, Props to people who do. Like my friend Eileen, she's fucking amazing. When it comes to that, but I don't know why I say she. We just kind of bonded over Dragon Ball Z. We stayed friends throughout middle school, and what I thought throughout high school. When I wish, like looking back on it now, I would have just slapped myself and be like, he's not your friend. He was a nice enough guy to just be buddies with me, but looking back on it now, he didn't give two shits about me. Not the way that I gave shits about him. Like, I would have fought for this dude if necessary. He could have started a fight with somebody, and I would have thrown down to protect his ass. He was someone that at the time I considered a brother. You know, like we were like 2/3 of the Three Musketeers, and the other person, who I call and I'll call him by his nickname because it's nowhere near to his first real name. My buddy Iggy. It was me, Davis, and Iggy. We were friends, like we were buddies. Like, in all honesty, like they were the closest friends I had for the longest time, aside from this one girl, who I'm not going to refer to her by her name, but she's the girlfriend and baby mama to one of my friend's brothers. She was also a very close friend of mine, and in high school she just turned on me. I don't know why. People change. Let this be all serious. I am not blaming a lot of things on anybody. People do change, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But to go back on Davis, he just stopped talking to me slowly to the point where he didn't even acknowledge me. Come, senior year, dude gave no fucks. Like, at this point, he was so full of his own shit. Like, he was the type of guy that would spit on you and probably think like he just blessed you. He had like the Kanye West kind of vibe going off of him. And I still try to be friends with him. I still saw the same Davis that I saw in middle school. I still wanted to be friends with him because I generally cared for the dude. I generally wanted to be friends with him. He just didn't want to be friends with me. And after high school, he made it very clear. You know, as stupid as it's gonna sound, he straight up just deleted me on Facebook. I remember I had a conversation with him like a couple of weeks prior, because he moved out of the city, and he was going to be coming back, and I was like, "Hey Davis, you know, hey, when you're in town, let's hang out. You know, I'll make a day where I'll make sure that one of my days off is going to be coordinated with that. Let's just hang out like we used to back in the day." And you know, you can see when people just look at it, and I was like, "Okay, he saw it. He'll probably get back to me later." A week went by, nothing. Messaged him. I was like, "Hey man, I'm sorry if you've been busy. You know, I really do want to catch up with you, man. It's been so long. Like, high school seems like it's been forever, and it's only been like a year or two. At the time, I'm obviously way beyond that." And then I just pretty much put two and two together. The dude wants nothing to do with me. He wants everything to do with all the popular people he was friends with in high school. All the people, you know, who he could easily fit in with, go to parties, drink, smoke weed, yet still be a very honorable student in school. But he didn't want to be friends with the guy who had his back for years. So I just told him, I was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna throw this out here. Block me if you don't want to be friends with me anymore. If you literally don't value our entire friendship at all, just block me. That'll be the realest response you can ever give me." 10 minutes later, I was blocked. I didn't block him, he blocked me. You know, I'm still friends with Iggy. Never had a falling out with him. We don't talk as much as we used to, but that's just because, you know, life, you know, caused us to grow apart. But that's neither here or there. The girl that I referred to as earlier, childhood friends from elementary school and high school, I don't know what the fuck happened to her. Like, I still know who she is. She just changed to the point where, like, I didn't even recognize her. And that made me sad. It made me sad that I couldn't recognize my childhood friend. And it just made me blame myself. That's how much self-hate I had with myself. I hated myself for things I couldn't even possibly even, you know, fathom and, you know, be a part of. But enough talking about, you know, outside, you know, the outsiders of, you know, friendship and things like that. I'm going to go back more onto myself. If you would have, if 28-year-old Jeremy, and that is my name, if for people who didn't catch that on certain videos, my name's Jeremy. If you would have told 28-year-old Jeremy, I mean, if 28-year-old Jeremy would have went back in time and talked, let's say we'll talk to 10-year-old Jeremy, 16-year-old Jeremy, and probably at my lowest, 22-year-old Jeremy. If I talked to my 10-year-old self, I probably would have said, "Hey, you're going to go through a lot, but it's going to make you a hell of a lot of better person." I probably would try to warn them not to chase after certain romantic options. Not that I would believe myself, because I hated myself, and I probably would have said, like, there's no way that I was going to get any girlfriends, let alone as many as I did in the past. Same thing with the 16-year-old me. 22-year-old me would have already been through so much and had the biggest heartbreak of my life happen. But I would have told 28-year-old Jeremy, 10-year-old Jeremy, that things get better. You're gonna shed a lot of tears. You're gonna hold the proverbial gun to your mouth and want to pull the trigger, but you're not gonna be able to, and you shouldn't be able to. Like I said, it started off in elementary where bullying really fucked with me. Middle school and high school fucked with me even more. college was a little bit better. I could be myself around people. Granted, within the first week of my college, I nearly got kicked out of my campus because I nearly got into a fight with the dude who's been there for 3 years. Me and him are actually friends now, but me and him got into an argument where he called me a racial slur. I said a word that I'm not super proud of. Um, take that as you will. And I apologized after everything kind of cooled down, but I got into a fist fight because he started it. I didn't want to back down. I didn't want to seem weak within my first week of college, and yeah, I nearly got kicked out of school. Um, but it kind of opened my eyes that I'm finally in the real world where a lot of people they will still judge you. It's just like that line in Bob's Burgers: "You're judged from the moment you're born to the moment you die." And it's true. It's very fucking true. Don't let anybody lie to you and say that's not true because it is true. You will always be judged no matter where you go and where you are. Uh, a couple of years ago, I was in a super huge funk. Like, I didn't think I would ever get below the pit that high school was. And this one particular relationship I was in, that I was deeply head over heels in love with the girl. Sad thing is, I when she broke my heart, and left me, and when the relationship ended, like, I never recovered for that for a long time. It kind of reopened a lot of my old wounds that I tried to hide up with fake bandages, if you will. You know, I wasn't proud of myself, the way I lived. I wasn't, and and take this with 100% truth. I didn't do drugs. I I didn't abuse myself. I didn't cut myself or anything like that. And if you do that, please, there are many places you can go to seek help. Like, seriously, if you need somebody to talk to your friends, talk to your family, go to a counselor. You're not alone. And when I say this, like, I have to be real with this. I'm saying this because, one, I feel like I just need to get a lot of this off my chest, and two, I need to be real because, the stress of life can break down the strongest ones of us. Um, so back to what I was saying, I ended up, how can I put it? I was such in a dark mood that I didn't want to live. And I had, like, literally set a time limit for myself in which I was gonna commit suicide. It was a dark and very, I think only one person knows this, and I'll touch in on who that is in a bit. But I had made a vow to myself, hey, when you turn 27, if things still haven't looked up, just end it. I could have done it in any various means. And the reason why I pick 7 is, pick 27 is pretty much there's been a lot of mentally stable people, or not mentally stable, emotionally unstable people who kind of hid their sorrows and a lot of different things, and they just ended up ending their lives. And a lot of them were famous. Some of them died by accidental overdose. Some of them died by self-inflicted gunshots, hanging, things like that. And it's kind of a weird club. It's called the Forever 27 Club, and it's not a club I don't want to be a part of anymore. At the time when I was at my darkest, that was kind of like in a weird way, a goal, an ending. The worst ending you can possibly ever get if you're thinking in a video game reference. Um, I legitimately hated myself. I was surrounded by a lot of people who probably who did care about me. I don't even want to say probably, who did care about me. And I just could not get past that. There'd be moments where I would like openly burst out in tears and I just couldn't fucking pick myself up. There'd be moments where I would be surrounded by people who I can consider friends, and yet I couldn't feel anything. So I faked it. I smiled, I joked around, but I don't think I was ever truly happy. You know, I mean, I had moments of me being real. I'm not gonna lie to any of my friends and say I was always faking, the emotions I showed. I'm not, but the majority of the time I just kind of felt numb. And it was weird. I mean, this explains why I don't drink as much as I did in secret. I don't like feeling numb. I like feeling something in life. Um, you know, a lot of life issues, a lot of family issues, a lot of self issues clogged up this aura that I would naturally make people feel, and they assumed everything was all right. And once I dropped it, once I realized I'm not alone, I'm not crazy, I'm not broken, things fell apart. I mean, things literally fell apart. Like the outer shell, the shell that I had literally maintained for years upon years of hatred, self-loathing, just broke, and Jeremy, the real Jeremy, came out. I love myself now. My last job I used to have, I liked it at the beginning. I felt like the company really valued me, and then in the end, they never valued shit. Hell, majority of the managers only cared about their pay, so they fucked over the little guys. And it just made me hate helping people. This new job makes me, maybe they may not have seen me as what I like to see me as, but I just started. I'm only in my 3rd week working there, but I have high hopes for this place. I actually like going to work. Granted, I want to sleep in a little bit more, but it's whatever. I'm not used to being up, having a day job. I was like nearly two years. I was so used to working overnights. But yeah, she how can I put this? Yeah, I love myself now. I actually give a shit about wanting to better myself in various ways. Now, granted, there's still many things I have yet to accomplish, like on a bucket list that I would love to accomplish. I'm not saying I'm completely satisfied with life. Nobody should ever be completely satisfied with life. You should always strive to do something. You should always strive to finish a goal you've never accomplished, or do something, or gain a skill. You should always strive for that. But I still have a lot of those things I need to do. Like, in all honesty, if I want a girlfriend. It's been a long time since I've had one. And this ain't no pity video where I'm like, oh, why me? I couldn't deem myself worthy to have a girlfriend. Not out of self-hatred, because I knew if I couldn't love myself, why would I love somebody else? Why would I subjugate that person into a miserable life with me? The dating world is not what it used to be. It will never be what it used to be. And I'm not too upset about that, because that just makes what real true romance more real. Um, but again, neither here nor there on that. I don't want to focus like a lot of time on romance. Um, but yeah, you have to take the things around you. Like the people who are in my in our nerdy opinion, I see them as a family. Like, you may hear jokes said, you may even hear like playful insults said. Majority by me. I will not lie, I'm a big shit talker when it comes to playing video games and shit like that. Not necessarily like, those really salty people you hear online, but like more of like, you can generally feel the love and the friendship in my words if I'm willing to insult you while we're playing a game. Um, like my all time best friend, uh, Life Axis, Arsenio. Like we literally started our friendship as just insulting each other in middle school, and not venomous insults. It was kind of more like stupid kid insults. We became friends out of a happy accident. And the reason why I say happy accident because it was literally an accident, and the end result ended up being happy. He hurt himself. My mom happened to find him limping. He fucked up his knee. He used to be a skateboarder, not professional, just used to skate. Chilled at my house. We became friends over literally us waiting for his mom to get home from work, and us fucking kicking back and drinking Sprite Remix, and not that bullshit Sprite Remix that I have now. There was an original Sprite Remix, was like the bombastic best flavors. But we bonded over that in a weird way, and then I kind of just started visiting him more and more, and he was like only a few houses down from me, because he lived in the same neighborhood as me, and we just became friends. Literally one of the closest friends I have ever had in my life. One of the only friends that has never stabbed me in the back anytime. Like, yes, of course we had some moments where like we kind of pissed each other off, but that didn't last more than a few days at the most, just like any friendship would. But it goes to show you there are people, even in your darkest moments, that do care about you, that will always be there for you, and they don't have to be family. A lot of people will always tell you, hey, at least you have your family. You can't necessarily say that, because sometimes family doesn't even want you around. And I'm saying that not out of personal experience, it's just something that I've seen. It's not even like, oh, I've seen it in a movie once. I have a family member I don't talk to anymore because he doesn't want to be associated with me or other parts of my family, and that's his choice. I wish him the best. I do miss him. I miss him a lot. And that's my brother. He's not dead or anything. I truly do miss you, Chris. If you, for some reason, somehow listen to this video, I do miss you a lot. And I do wish you the best. The same goes for my 3 nephews who I haven't seen in like 4 years. Or it feels like 4 years. I don't even know how long it's been. That's how long it feels. But that goes to show you I have an actual brother who I haven't seen in so long, and I wish he could be there for me, but yet my friends are more there for me than he is. So never assume just because they're family, just because they're blood, means that they're always going to be there for you. And also, never assume that the friends that you have now are going to be the friends you're going to have tomorrow or a year from now. True friends will somehow make it work no matter what. True friends are people who don't give up on you in the slightest bit, who want to better yourself. They look at you and they know your worth without you saying a fucking thing. They don't want you to fail. People who want you to fail are not your true friend. They're not your true family. You know, if you look at somebody and you're just like, oh man, he's gonna get into a bad relationship, I just want to see him fail. I just want to see this all blow up. That's not really your friend. You try to talk some sense in them. You know, it'd be like if I decided to start slinging drugs. If nobody slapped me at that moment, if nobody told me, no, dude, you're better than this, use your fucking intelligence, get a job, go to your strengths, do something actually worth something. And, you know, and if they didn't do that, I don't think I would be able to be friends with them after I snapped out of that, after I came to my senses. You know, if you told those three me's that I had spoke about earlier, that I would have friends actually worth a damn, I would have family that I will never want to trade for anything in the world, that actually cares about me. And granted, I never doubted a lot of my family cares about me. You know, family does care about you, but again, like I said before, there are family members who will, just because they're family doesn't mean they're always going to be around you. If you had told me that I was going to be appreciated for my mind, I was going to be appreciated for just me being me, you know, being able to make people who aren't open with others open up. If you had told me, Jeremy, you are going to be worth it. You are going to be worth people's time. You're going to be worth people's friendship and energy, I honestly would have cried in your arms. Because people need to hear that. Not every day. Not every moment. But people need that understanding that you're not alone, you're not a piece of shit. People need to hear that it's okay to hurt. It's okay to be hurt. Because it makes you feel normal. You are normal if you feel this way. You are normal if you don't want to talk about it with your friends and family because you're afraid to be judged. That is completely normal. As a person who hid his emotions for the longest time, I feel you in this. I generally do feel you on this. It's scary to feel like you can't open up. But you can. Choose who you want to open up to. Like I said, if you're religious, go to a religious figure. If you want to go to a counselor, go to a counselor. If you want to go to your girlfriend or boyfriend, go to them. If you want to go to a single friend that you feel like you can trust, go to them. If you want to tell this to your family member, go to them. Just know it's okay. It's really weird because I rambled on about certain things I shouldn't have done that, but it's because being real with people is something that very rarely I get to do. And to do a video without much gameplay, to do a video without much joking, it makes this video stand out. Whether it gets 1 view or it gets 10,000 views. As long as I can touch one person. You know, if I can make that one person feel like I helped them in some way, that's all that matters. Because that's all that will ever matter. Helping people is something that everybody should be able to do in this day and age. If people are genuinely concerned about your well-being, they're good people. even if history has shown that they hurt you in the past. I've seen friends who are no longer friends anymore, and one party is still willing to reach out to the other party out of concern of an action they've done, because that person knows the other one better than they know themselves sometimes. What I'm saying here is, you can easily go down a dark path without knowing it. But it's even easier to breathe again after you find that right path. After you find those footsteps to start walking up that staircase out of your pit. Because as much as it seems like it's a bottomless pit, it's not. You know, I can honestly tell you that's true for me. But yeah. There might be a part 2 to this. I don't know. I may make a series of these videos where it's me being real. Hell, I may inspire other members of In Our Nerdy Opinion to do a video like this. I don't know. I don't know how comfortable everybody is. But this just goes to show you that everybody has emotions. Doesn't make them weird if they don't show it. Sometimes. I've been failed Fortitude. Just want to say, I don't know you, but I care.